The best work doesn't always win. The best perceived work does. Today, let's talk about when you go to pitch and you don't secure the client. Let's be honest, losing a pitch never feels fair. You've poured weeks into thinking about it. The rationale was sharp, the proposal was logical, your team brought the A game, and then silence, You wait, and a week later, you get a very polite email landing in your inbox. Oh, we've decided to go in a different direction. You actually had to read that twice. You can't believe they went in a different direction. You decide to check who they picked because somehow this information leaks, and that's where it stings. Their work is not stronger, their track record is not longer, but somehow they just look more certain. That is the point. They look more certain, and you've lost because you don't. That's perception-driven loss. When your work wins on merit, but it loses on the brand. If you're new here, I'm Ben from Kenyan Grafik, and we help service businesses look as good as the work they deliver and get paid full price for it. This is episode 5 of the Rebrand Masterclass. Let's slow this down for a second, starting with guys who don't even know you personally. Imagine you have a big client in Kigali. They're choosing between 3 firms. They've read your proposal, scrolled through your site. Maybe they've even peeked at your socials. They don't know you personally. All they have to go on are the signals. Just that, the signals. Firm A comes and says, we've done this before. Firm B comes and says, we can probably do it. Firm C, yours? It seemed like it's saying we are trying to figure it out. The decision 9 times out of 10 is made before the presentation. Before you are called into a presentation, that decision is already made. Clients will rarely pick the best. They will pick the safest. In fact, there's an old business saying that goes, nobody gets fired for buying IBM. At the time that phrase was coined, IBM had the safest technology to bring into a company. And if anything went wrong, you would not be accused of making a wrong decision. Nobody gets fired for choosing IBM. So clients rarely pick what's best. They choose what is safest. That is the fact. Because at the end of the day, your proposal is not just selling a solution. It's asking them to risk their own reputation on you, to risk their careers, to risk their employment, to risk everything that they have built just by choosing you. So when most founders assume that clients make decisions during the pitch, let me tell you, they don't. They really don't. Research has shown that professional service industries, 70% of the buyers decide what feels right before even the first meeting. By the time you're in the room, you're not persuading them. You're just there to confirm their intuition pretty much. And that's why 2 teams can deliver the same logic, deliver the same competence, but one will win and the other will lose. The difference is not talent, it's trust at first glance. And I have seen other founders who are saying, my work speaks for itself. It doesn't. Your work whispers when your presentation of it is what shouts. Let me do that again. Your work whispers, but your presentation of it is what shouts. Clients don't just read your case studies, they read how consistent you are. They actually notice stuff like your typography, the tone of your voice, the website structure, your proposal layout. Every detail is either reinforcing the confidence or planting doubt. They're not consciously grading fonts or colors, but they can see where there's alignment and there's lack of alignment, misalignment. They're busy feeling where your brand feels certain, and certainty wins all the time. When clients are choosing partners, they're not looking for the best work. Not necessarily. They're just looking for who will give them the lowest risk. And it has to be you. It has to be your brand, because your brand is there to ensure that choosing you feels safe. In fact, it's not just safe, but it's the safest option that they have. And here's something that we don't talk about enough: perception. It's not the enemy of the truth, it's the doorway of the truth. Perception is how people access the reality of competence. We like to imagine that rational evidence wins, the portfolio, the testimonials, the data. But most decisions actually start in the emotional brain before they get to the rational brain. They only later get rationalized. In fact, the software engineer, Billy Marcus, he said people are not rational. They're just rationalizing. Humans are wired to reduce uncertainty. That's why clarity and confidence are busy signaling your safety. I know there's an old adage that says don't judge a book by its cover, and there's a lot of truth. I'm not wiser than Mengas, but We all judge a book by its cover. Otherwise, why are we designing covers for books? Why do we dress up proper? We want to be judged by the cover. You see, a consistent, well-designed brand tells the brain, you must trust us. But if you have something that is scattered, outdated, it's just saying, hey, tread carefully. It's not vanity to have something good. It's biology. Guys, we have eyes. We have brains. We have not removed them because we are in companies. We are built to actually reason out stuff. So imagine showing up to a boardroom in a well-tailored suit while the next person is busy walking in with a crumpled shirt. Both might have the same skill, but one looks ready. The other one, not so. That's brand perception. That's pure perception. It's not about pretending to be bigger than you are. It's about letting your exterior reflect your actual capability. And when the outside doesn't match what's on the inside, clients can sense that dissonance. Even if they can't explain it, they don't have to be designers to sense it. The Bible actually says you can't pour new wine into old wineskins. And even if you're not a Christian, that wisdom is true. You just go try it. Just go try it. Many businesses are trying to run a world-class operation in an outdated brand container. Your system has matured, your team has grown, your delivery is sharper than ever, but the brand still looks like how it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. That mismatch is costing you credibility. It actually is. Because you see, when this growth is happening internally, but your brand is remaining stagnant, the market can't see the evolution. They're only seeing what you're presenting to them, and it's not the growth, it's not the evolution. And you're losing, not because you've fallen behind, but because your brand has fallen behind, because your progress has remained invisible. So what are you doing? You are asking the clients to take a risk. The reality is, the bigger the investment, the more reassurance they need. The reassurance doesn't come from the claims, it comes from coherence. When your visuals, your messaging, your behavior, your people, all of them are aligned, people can sense the maturity, the integrity. When they don't, even the excellent logic feels unsafe. That's why consistency actually builds trust faster than persuasion ever can. Think of it this way. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence reduces risk, and reduced risk drives the decision. If your brand can deliver those 3 steps very clearly, visually, emotionally, you win before you ever present the slide deck. That's the work that you have to do, And if it doesn't, you have an inconsistent brand and it's lacking confidence. Every mismatched font, off-tone post, every out-of-date proposal, every clunky website page, it's causing fractures in your credibility. 1 or 2 things, they don't seem like much, but stacked together, they create a compounding effect that leads to hesitation. There's no decision that is going to be made that is going to be in your favor. That hesitation is the difference between let's go with these guys or yeah, let's keep looking. It's the same principle that pilots live by, that if you have a small deviation that has been left unchecked, you can have a very huge cause error. Your brand pretty much is the same way. And we don't have to look far into the past to think about proof for this. Look at Airbnb, for example. In its early years, it had a great product, a huge amount of loyal users, but they struggled to earn investor confidence. Their brand identity looked homemade, they were playful, they were inconsistent, they were forgettable. Then they sat down and said, yeah, we gotta show up properly. And so they rebranded in 2014, aligning their visuals, their tone, their promise under one coherent idea: belong anywhere. The public perception changed overnight. It was the same product, but it suddenly felt global. It suddenly felt trustworthy. It suddenly felt credible. The rebrand didn't change the value, it revealed it. And that's what brand alignment does. It takes your existing excellence and makes it legible to the world. Back to the pitches that you've lost. Let me reframe the sting of the lost pitches. Every pitch that you lose is feedback from the market. It's telling you what your brand is and isn't communicating. Maybe they didn't see your professionalism. Maybe your proposal felt too dated. Maybe your tone was too informal. Just something was amiss. And it's not failure. That's information from the market, And when you listen to that feedback without ego, the feedback then becomes the roadmap to your growth. You are not being punished. You are being coached by the market. at a cost. Do you really want to keep paying the price? Why would you want to pay more? So let's clear this up. Rebranding isn't about chasing applause, it's about aligning the truth and perception. When done right, rebranding doesn't change who you are. It just makes the outside match what's on the inside. It's clarity, not vanity. It's what allows people to see your real value without needing a personal introduction or, good one. Go put in a good word for me now. And when you get it right, you stop losing pitches that you should have been winning in the first place. You should have been. But most companies don't need a total overhaul to fix these losses. They just need a bit of coherence. You can start small, but you have to be intentional about it. One, you can unify your templates, every proposal, every deck, every case study, every document. Let it feel like it came from the same hand. If you can't do that, get someone to design templates or hire a designer. Two, update your website. Let it reflect who you are now, not who you were in 1978. Okay? Three, audit your voice, the way you write, the way you present, the way you speak. All these should speak like it's one brand speaking through different people, not 5 people. Refresh your visuals. Clean design is not decoration. It's a very clean and easy confidence signal. And finally, document your process. The more organized you appear, the more predictable you feel. When every single touch point is speaking with one voice, you stop making clients guess who you are. You stop asking them to take a huge risk. Again, they're not just trying to buy the best solution. They're trying to buy whatever feels safest to believe. Your goal is not just trying to impress them by good graphics and good procedures. It's to reassure them. And this reassurance is not you lowering your standards. It means that you're making whatever excellence you have internally be very easy to see. And when they finally feel safe with you, they stop comparing you and start committing. That's what a great brand does. It turns anxiety into reassurance. So losing a pitch hurts. It should. It means you care. But if you can look through those losses with a clear lens, they become some of your greatest teachers. Every single time a client told you no, they were revealing a gap. Maybe not in your capability, but in the communication of your capability. And the good news, it's very fixable. Perception can always be redesigned. Confidence can be made visible, and your work can finally get the platform that it deserves. If you're not sure whether your brand is doing well or not, we have a simple test, the C4 brand quiz. You can find it on our website, on the bio, on the description. It's just anywhere and everywhere on our platforms. It's quick. It's a self-assessment that shows you where your brand is doing well and where it's not doing well, where it's hurting credibility, where it's showing up properly. Because it's meant to be building your reputation. Your reputation deserves clarity, not confusion. So what's the bottom line? You don't lose pitches because your work is bad. You lose them because clients can't see how good you are. Go fix the signals, go align the visuals. Make sure every single touch point is speaking with one voice. One. Change the perception. It's not the opposite of truth. It's the first step towards the truth. Yep, and in the next episode, we'll talk about how inconsistency inside your company ends up leaking outside, and why everyone bringing their own version of the brand actually hurts your brand. Clients start seeing different versions of your brand and they don't know which one to trust. Yep, see you then.